See, and this is why I vouch for people the way that I vouch for people, because just because this whole thing where genders are becoming black or recognized as black, whatever the case might be, are happening, doesn't mean that any other race are not allowed to start asking questions. You're welcome to ask questions. I just want you guys to be respectful about it. So this young lady hit me in my DMs and she asked me not to expose her, so I'm not going to. You know, I respect people that way. This is a Caucasian young lady and she politely asked me about my video I just posted where I said I don't like saying the word ginger. And here's what I mean by that. So I look at that as the equivalent, this is my personal opinion, as the equivalent of saying like black and African American, or saying white and Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? Native American and Indian, Mexican and Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? It just, to me, ginger just sounds like, I don't want to say the derogatory term. I'm just saying like, I don't even want to say redhead. Like I don't necessarily know the correct terminology, but I just never liked the word ginger because I just feel like it's a, I don't want to say description, you know. And obviously, since I'm not someone who comes from that sort of background, I don't have the right to be deciding what's respectful and what's not. That's like someone of a different ethnicity trying to tell me that I shouldn't be offended by being called black or African American or something. And I really would love to have someone who is, you know, a redhead, a Autumn American, whatever you prefer to be called, explain to me their preference. But then again, this is all based on people. So one person may be okay with being called a ginger, another person may be, you know, something else. And with me personally, I prefer to be called black, not African American, because there's a significant difference between me, a black person, and an African person. You call an African person a black person, they're going to get offended. You call a black person an African person, we're going to get offended because we're not the same. You call a white person a European person, they're not the same. You know, so on and so forth. Um, And I mean, it goes down to the specifics as well. And I hope that, I don't think I'm explaining this well enough. You can't call a Native American an Indian. You can't call, um, shit, like a Hispanic person a Mexican. You know, you don't speak Mexican, you speak Spanish, you know. So there's a level of respect that I'm looking for that I'm not familiar with, but also that's just my preference. I can't speak for the entire world. I can't speak for the whole black community. I can't speak for anybody who was born with red hair, you know. That's just that. I personally just don't like I think ginger is more of a description, like a derogatory type of description. Like if at one point black was more like a derogatory description. However, I just accepted it as more of a, because it's become more normalized. So I've just accepted it as not only, you know, I'm not African. Like I'm not African. I'm an American born black woman. So that's just my preference. But then again, that's just my preference. Some people prefer to be called African American. I just think it's odd when I go around people and, oh yeah, the African American girl over there. Dude, I'm black. Like, I'm black. I'm black. Whereas, you know, I've met some, and I actually dated a guy who was white, Caucasian. He didn't like to be called a white. He liked to be called Caucasian. But his mom hated to be called Caucasian. I'm white. You know, so that's just, I try to be cautious of that type of thing because you never know who's getting offended by it. Once again, if anybody you're around, young lady, tells you their preference, I mean, it's nothing wrong with asking their preference. You just have to be cautious on how you ask it because I've also learned that it was common for people to ask redheads, like, are you natural? Or some shit. I'm not a natural fucking blonde. Like, I would think that, I guess in all the ways you ask it, I don't know how offensive that would be to someone who was naturally born with red hair. So that would be something you had to ask them. I'm not sure. But however, I don't think it would matter if I was a natural blonde or they were a natural redhead or whatever the case might be, because if you're going into, you know, this is not a statement that you're going to be making 24/7. So I kind of look at it as in the moment, if I'm having a conversation and I go, you know, oh yeah, that whatever person over there. or whatever. Hey, I was having a conversation with somebody and I went to go, describe you to them. How would you prefer to be described? I take that extra step because I care about how people feel. And, you know, that's just something I take into consideration. So don't be scared to ask questions. Not everybody's going to be as receptive. Not everybody's going to be as nice about it, and not everybody's going to understand that you're trying to learn. But if you expose that you're trying to learn and you're not trying to be disrespectful, you're not trying to be racist, you're trying to actually learn, and maybe start your comment off with, "Hey, I don't want to be rude. I'm just trying to learn because I'm curious." I think you might get far. But I'm glad you asked your question. I hope you have a great day, and good luck.